In this show, Apple loses their HomeKit chief, Amazon Prime Video comes natively to the Mac, Titanium comes to the iPhone 14, managing iCloud across your devices, Apple's software woes, Apple Watch 8 redesign, ARM's Nvidia future, and 2022's product updates, all in a video sponsored by Private Internet Access, where you'll get 4 months free exclusively with a subscription at privateinternetaccess.com/iCaveDave. More on that later, but let's get into it. I'm iCaveDave and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you, and if you want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours every weekday at 12 UTC, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring my bell. So first up, head of home services Sam Jalada has revealed on LinkedIn that he's no longer at Apple, saying it had been a treat to be an entrepreneur within Apple and to create products at scale, having previously worked at smart lock firm Otto and Microsoft. Under Jalada's watch, Apple had expanded its focus on home, with the HomePod Mini becoming something of a hit, but only after the original HomePod saw lackluster sales and then became sorely missed and became a bit of a cult icon after it was discontinued. Although reports have said that Apple's team working on the lounge offering with Apple TV, for example, have been pessimistic at the future direction of that line. Perhaps just as with Johnny Ive stepping back from Apple and allowing a fresh take on the Mac lineup, this change at the top of the home division might allow some new ideas to come to the surface with a fresh approach. Amazon Prime Video gets a native Mac app. Amazon is bringing the Prime Video app to the Mac in a native app, which is great news, as I've personally found the browser interface to be pretty clunky, while the Apple TV app is actually pretty good. For me, one of the best features of Prime Video is X-Ray, which allows you to pause any scene in their videos and get a list of the actors in that scene, along with a short filmography, forever fixing the "what do I know them from" moments that you've always had, where you have to grab your phone and Wikipedia the actors that are in the scene. The app appears to be using the Catalyst framework, and as such is based on the existing iPad app, so it should be a pretty smooth transition. And Apple has registered new patents on titanium surfaces, potentially for the iPhone 14 next year. Apple is no stranger to titanium as a material, and it's been using it in the PowerBooks way back in the PowerPC days, and currently uses it as one of the more premium options for Apple's watch lineup. But could Apple be eyeing more products in its lineup to use titanium, including the MacBook, iPad, and iPhone? Patently Apple reports that Apple has registered a number of new patents around surface finishes on titanium, including selective etching of a titanium alloy so that portions of an anodized color layer can be removed from the peaks, improving durability of the color layer itself. The listed inventors here include Justin Maksu, an iPhone production design engineer, so it seems likely that the iPhone could be a beneficiary of this development. Much of our discussion in the past of this material has centered around the MacBook Pros, but it occurred to me that actually the MacBook Air might be a better candidate for titanium, as it is known for its lightweight and high strength, so it would be ideal for a thinner Air, especially if Apple was looking to redefine the Air as being a premium product again, with a simple MacBook just becoming the entry-level device in future. Though of course it's unclear if Apple is actually looking to realign the MacBooks in this way. If they did though, it would fit in with their kind of retro future stuff that they're doing at the minute, where the original MacBook was the plastic polycarbonate one, and then you got the MacBook Air, which was the super premium thin and light, and then you got your MacBook Pro that was like the chunkier workhorse. But yeah, I think the MacBook Air was actually the most expensive starting point in the past. Although titanium would also be ideal for a future iPad Pro, which is expected to feature a glass-back design too, in order to allow wireless MagSafe charging and possibly reverse wireless charging, and the high strength of titanium would be very helpful as a characteristic for the frame of that. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Where do you think titanium is first going to crop up outside of the Apple Watch in Apple's new lineup? And we're actually going to be talking a bit more about new products coming from Apple later in this show. But we're getting into your iCave answers now, and the first one comes from Dante Burita. iCave answers: Dave, I have multiple Macs. I don't want iCloud syncing on all of my Macs, e.g. I only want my photos on one Mac. I don't want any documents from another Mac going to iCloud. If I turn off photos on one Mac, will it delete them from my other Macs? It appears that I can have iCloud photos turned off in system preferences while turned on in store in iCloud, accessed via via the system info. Very confusing. Do the store in iCloud options, i.e. desktop and documents, photos, messages apply per iCloud account or per device? Now, I'm pretty certain that this is per device. So if you, for example, we have multiple iPads in the house and we want some of those to be uploading everything to iCloud, whereas, for example, my eldest son's iPad, he does a lot of screenshots of stuff that he just wants to print out from videos and things. So we don't want all of those screenshots necessarily to go up to iCloud and sit there just filling up space when they're only going to be used briefly and then removed to make space again. So, to the best of my knowledge, it is per device. You can certainly have one of your Macs have the iCloud photo library on it, like being your backup for the household, and then keep them in the cloud as well, so that they're accessible by your other devices. For example, you don't need your iPhone to necessarily have every single photo you've ever taken on it, when it can just have the thumbnails from the iCloud, and then just grab the individual photos when you want to see them at full resolution. So yes, you should be able to do everything per device, not per account. Team Kinetics asks, iCave answers, I'd be really interested to see more of the behind the scenes stuff. Perhaps an evolution of the iCave with the equipment that you'd used in the past and why you swapped out some kit for others. As a daily show, you must be pretty comfortable with your workflow now, and how about some of your top tips for Final Cut Pro or quick video editing? You might underestimate how interesting all of these things are for anyone starting out or anyone with a passing interest in YouTube. Other suggestions could be lighting setup, a more in-depth walkthrough of your sound recording and syncing, color correction, scheduling your premieres on YouTube, tips on positive engagement and community management. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I can do in there. I would say following me for color correction, probably a terrible idea, because look a few weeks ago when I was actually manually color correcting stuff, and you'll see why it's probably not the best thing. But what I think might be a good way of doing this is actually at some point in future, when I have a day when there's not that many people around, being able to maybe live stream the editing process of one of these videos, rather than kind of trying to do a presented video. Maybe I do like a screen share of Final Cut and a camera on me, and we'll have a chat, and anyone that wants to ask questions while I do it can do that. That might be a good way of doing it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Little Mountain Life asks, iCave answers, what are your thoughts on Prosser's video from yesterday diving into Apple's software issues? I personally haven't experienced any of the issues on my iPads, iPhones or MacBooks, but there must be others out there having issues if this is a thing. Now, I've got to say, first and foremost, love John to bits. He's one of the guys that literally supported this channel right from the start. As soon as we got monetized, pretty much, he was on one of the live streams and giving super chats, which just blew me away. So big shout out to John, and also thank you to John for coming on our live stream when we did the iCaversary, along with a bunch of other people. But I would agree with you. I haven't seen that many issues, and then today when I was walking back to the house, I'm having loads of issues at the minute with pairing on the new AirPods, and this has surprised me a little bit. Now, there is always the possibility of having like just teething issues with the first versions. Also, I tend to run beta versions of software on some things and not on others, and that doesn't necessarily make them play nicely together. But yeah, there are definitely a few issues. I have had some of the issues with connectivity on my iPhone, and I think that might be down to what we mentioned a couple of days ago with the iCloud private relay. I think that might have been messing some stuff around as well. So yeah, I do actually completely see what he means. I've not had many issues on the Macs, to be fair. I've had very few issues on the iPad, but the iPhone has been a little bit buggy for me recently. Again, not had any issues with the watch, but also my watch is an SE, so it's been around for a year or so now. So anything like that that's specific to the hardware, I think has been ironed out at this point. John Malkin asks, iCave answers, do you think the redesigned Apple Watch will be released in 2022? 50-50 chance? I would love to say yes, and I do kind of think we will see it next year, but, and this is quite an important but, it depends what the issue was in production that caused them to not be able to do it. We don't know. There's been no, obviously, leaks about what the specific issue was. What was it that meant that they couldn't fit the parts which presumably they'd kind of done a test run of. What meant that they couldn't get these parts to go in consistently? What was it? Was there a ribbon cable that was crimping? Was there physically just not enough space? Was the tolerances off? Was the battery slightly larger than expected when it arrived? We don't know what the issue was that actually caused all of these problems. What I do think is probably the case, I think there's probably a lot of bodies for these Apple Watches that are just knocking around somewhere, that have all been milled, they've all been produced on the CNC machines, they've all been kind of cut from the blocks of aluminium. Although that is basically a time issue rather than a money issue specifically, because Apple uses recycled aluminium, and I'm sure would be able to drop all of these Apple Watch bodies into some more hot aluminium and melt them back down if that's what they wanted to do. I don't think they would lose any aluminium, but I just don't think that they're going to have made all of these things and then go, okay, well, we'll recycle those then. My thought is definitely that these watches are going to come at some point, and I'm sure Apple will be able to sort out this manufacturing issue. It can't have been a huge, we've been told catastrophic failure. How catastrophic it can be when you've already done the test runs is, I don't know. But yeah, I think we will see it. Whether it will come next year or not really depends on what the actual problem was. Tim Beaton asks, iCave answers, what do you think will happen re the would-be buyout of ARM by Nvidia? Will it happen? What would the consequences be with Apple's licensing of the ARM instruction set if that deal goes through? Given that the EU is currently investigating this, and the looming B word that the UK is struggling with, would be interesting to hear your thoughts on how this all might pan out. Yeah, so ARM is a UK-based company, or a UK kind of founded company. It was then sold to SoftBank, and is then, I think, from SoftBank potentially being sold to Nvidia, who are the ones that want to buy it out. However, the UK government has had some things to say about this, as well as apparently now Europe. So the headquarters of ARM are in Cambridge, here in the UK, and it looks like the UK government doesn't want this to be sold off to Nvidia, which I can understand. They are pretty much kind of the biggest technology company in the UK right now, and especially since Apple has picked them up. All of a sudden ARM is far more popular with people, a lot more people interested in what it can do. So it is bringing a lot of attention. Now, Apple, as far as I know, was a founding member of ARM and did a lot of funding of it in the first place, so I don't know if they still have a partial ownership. It's been said that Nvidia wouldn't affect the licensing and the way that ARM is licensed to different people, and also Apple has kind of forked the ARM instruction set themselves. All of the stuff in ARM v9 is basically ARM catching up with what Apple has already done for the rest of the world, so that the other companies that they license it to can kind of take advantage of the same features. Apple is already kind of pioneering with ARM. I don't think they would have that much difficulty in kind of forking the instruction set and doing maybe a one-off payment in order to get a ongoing license for that, but it's very difficult to tell. I don't think the sale is a foregone conclusion. I think there's a decent chance that it just falls apart and doesn't happen because of different regulators. And NH asks, iCave answers, what non-core Apple products do you predict product updates for in 2022? AirPod, AirTags, HomePod, Pencil, TV, etc. Will Apple enter any new product categories in 2022? The first ever episode that we did of the Apple Daily, this show, I did mention the possibility that Apple, I think, was looking at putting a camera in the tip of the Apple Pencil. This would be the Apple Pencil 3, and it basically uses it to detect colours. So I could grab colours from the real world by tapping the pencil on it, it reads the colour, and then you paint with that colour. I think that would be just fantastic, especially interior designers could go through swatches on paper, and when they handle one that they want to use, they tap on it, and then they can colour the walls of a 3D model, for example. I think that would just be such a magical kind of experience, and the way that it would work, I think that would be something that Apple would very much look at. That's kind of an Apple looking experience to me. Is it going to come next year? I kind of hope so. I wouldn't get my hopes up, but I think it's a decent possibility. But that being said, there's certainly products out there like, for example, the AirTag. What are you going to make better about it? I'm not really sure how you would improve it. Maybe you could do a flatter one. Maybe they could expand the range so they have one that's flat like a credit card, because the credit card one would sit in a wallet much nicer than the chunky boy that we have right now. So that's a possibility. I think there's a reasonable possibility that we will get either AR or VR glasses of some sort, whether it's a headset or whether it's actual glasses at some point next year, or at least see some more evidence of it, maybe from code that the developers get to look at to get started. I don't see that Apple needs to get into any new product categories other than that right now. Obviously, you've also got the car. Apple TV, I think the next iteration we have of that is going to be integrating some speakers of some sort and potentially motion control, so that this will be something that sits on or underneath your TV, uses motion control to do gaming or Apple Fitness integrations, things like that. And AirPods, it looks like we're probably going to get our second generation of AirPods Pro. Not quite sure what they're going to add to that, although there has been thoughts of respiration tracking. If you're going for a run, then it will listen to your breathing and kind of track your respiratory rate. That would be quite interesting. Apple TV, as I say, I think that's going to be getting the motion control stuff more for fitness than for gaming, though, most likely. And it's time to pay the bills, so here we go. Today's sponsor is Private Internet Access, the world's most transparent VPN provider, with over 30 million downloads. It's a simple-to-use VPN that works with your Mac, iPhone, iPad, and even those PC things and Android phones, routing all of your traffic through a secured tunnel to hide your IP address and keep what you're doing private. And let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you're probably using the devices you are because you value your privacy. Private Internet Access hides your network data from everyone, from your internet service provider or network administrator to government censors. And it's the most customizable on the market, letting you set custom rules for different websites and offering no bandwidth restrictions or speed throttling, so you can stream, upload, and download to your heart's content privately. And my favourite part is that it's 100% open source, so if you're one of those clever people who knows what you're actually looking at, it's easy to verify that everything is above board from the open GitHub repositories. No user data is stored, and PIA's no-log policy has been proven in court multiple times. So get your 3-year subscription with 4 extra months absolutely free for only $1.98 a month. That's 83% off only by visiting privateinternetaccess.com/iCaveDave, as this offer is exclusive for you guys and it's risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support. So why wait? And thank you so much for watching. If you've got a question for a future episode, #iCaveAnswers down in the comments section. Thank you for being here, and we will see you in the next one.